Basically, one of the things that I do, apart from teaching Sun Tzu and mathematics, memory skills, is I also teach mind mapping. And what is mind mapping? Well, mind mapping basically is like a picture. It's like a graphical way to present or represent ideas or concepts. It's a visual tool. It's a visual thinking tool that helps structure information that you're coming across, helping you to better analyze, understand, make links between, recall, and generate new ideas. Um, it's a great idea, just as in every great idea, the power of the mind map lies in its simplicity. Okay, in a mind map, um, as opposed to traditional note taking, like a linear way. So, say for example, you're at university, college, school, wherever. People generally take notes like one after another. Okay, in a linear fashion. With a mind map, we structure it slightly differently. Information is structured in a way that kind of more resembles on how your brain actually works. It's an activity that is both analytical and artistic. It's very creative. It engages your brain in a much more richer way, and it helps you in many different ways. But anyway, the main thing about mind mapping is having fun whilst you are learning. Okay, so let's kind of begin. Let's begin. I'll show you the presentation. I'll talk you the way through. Let me see if I can share the lecture notes I've got. So let's share the screen, and then we begin. Okay. So here's the presentation on the mind maps. Yeah. So why mind maps? So as I said before, many people waste energy and time writing down extra words. Mind maps developed by my teacher, Tony Buzan, are a great and fun method of note-taking and also creative thinking. So the visual quality of the mind maps allows you to make key points, and that stand out easily and helps you remember more. Okay, so this is like a mind map, how to do a mind map. What I'm going to do is when I finish this, I will send you a copy of this presentation as well, so you can go through it in your own way, in your own time. Okay, so this just gives you the brief outline of what a mind map is, how it works, a central image using color, branches, etc. Okay, now let's go on to the second bit. Now, the human brain, our brains are much better than a computer. The only thing is, our brains do not have a manual on how to basically kind of like understand this computer. So mapping, memory skills, different things, different ways we have in learning, in remembering, and creative thinking. So computers work in a linear fashion, like one after another, like we take notes in a linear fashion. But our brains work associatively and also in a line. Okay, so they work in different ways. So the brain compares, integrates, synthesizes information. Okay, so association, for example, word associations, they play a big role in nearly every mental function. Words are no exception. Every word, every idea has numerous links attaching to it, to other ideas and concepts. Okay, so let's see, this is basically, this gives you an idea. It says, how long until computers have the same power as the human brain? So this is Lake Michigan, a graphic representation of Lake Michigan. Volume in fluid ounces is about the same as our brain's capacity in calculations per second. So computing power doubles every 18 months. And at that rate, okay, you see very little progress for a long time. So it's doubling, 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 and suddenly you're finished. So in 2024, In 3-4 years time, computers will be equivalent to the human brain. So a advanced computer somewhere in the world will be equivalent to the power of a human brain. Now, traditional note taking is basically remember when you were back at school, college, university, etc. We take down the notes like one after another, but you see through that energy and time is wasted writing down extra words you do not need. Okay. You might miss other information whilst you're writing down a single idea. So we generally take longer to read and then review. Associations and connections between these words, ideas are not readily apparent as we are taking down the notes. We're spending too much of our brain power and time writing down notes. So there's lack of color, other visual qualities kind of limit our memory. Traditional notes actually helps forgetting rather than remembering. What do I mean by that? Now, if you look at a book, two or three pages of a book, you do not remember every single word. You might remember some of the ideas. If you look at a television screen or a picture, generally you will remember the key elements within that picture or a video or a film. This is also how brain kind of works. It goes for the main points of a film or picture or a book. Now, when you put stuff down in a mind map and you're jotting information down, you using color, using imagery, you start remembering those colors, those imagery, those images, and it kind of starts recalling more and more information. Okay, so this is the format for the outline method of note taking. So you remember back at school, you might have the main topic, say for example English. Okay, then you've got the topic. It could be about grammar, it could be about synonyms, or etc. etc. Then you've got another major subtopic, which could be, for example, maybe a book by, say, Shakespeare, and then which book it is, etc. So you writing more and more information down, and whilst you're writing this information down, you're missing other details as what the lecturer is giving you. Now, mind maps were developed by Tony Buzan. They're an excellent method for note taking. In mind mapping, we basically start at the center of the page and then branch outwards. Let me show you a little mind map. This is a mind map of art and design. It's about developing creativity. So imagination is your resource, okay? And how then you kind of like just branch outwards. Now, key features of a mind map is organization, use keywords, association, clustering, your visual memory, you print the keywords, you use color, you use symbols. Remember when a lot of us like doodling, just making little pictures and whatnot, when we're kind of wasting time, but we're actually having fun. The trick with mind mapping is you're not really wasting time. You're actually using your mind, you're using your creativity to do something that you like, which is doodling, but doodling creatively. You could say mind mapping is doodling creatively, but it's actually much more serious than just doodling. Okay. Now, everyone is an individual. Every mind map will be different. Okay. So, but as you are mind mapping, you are consciously and actively involved. You're using your mind. The other thing with mind mapping is, if you look at this now, for example, this is the human brain cells. They look very, very similar to mind maps. And that's how mind maps also work. Okay, so mind maps work the way the brain works. Okay, memory is naturally associative, not linear. So say, for example, I might say a word and you link something else to the word. Let's say the word, for example, human. So you'll think human being and woman. Okay, let's stick with man. So human, man. So man, what? Old, young, boy, etc. So you're kind of like linking it and kind of developing it. Again, mind maps are very, very natural. If you look at a tree is like a mind map with all these different branches. The trunk is the main point, and the branches, as they're going out, they could be parts You can have different information on the branches, and it keeps growing. Now, the mind remembers keywords and images, not sentences, generally. Okay, there are people out there who remember every single thing. If they read a book, they'll remember everything. But the mind easily remembers, generally, all of us, keywords and images, not sentences. So can you, for example, recall just one sentence from memory, from a book, or quote something exactly? Okay, we speak and communicate with each other. Okay, we do not recall every single word we say to each other, but some keywords and some images. Mind maps use those keywords, those images, allowing a lot more information to be put on a single page, should you so desire. Okay, now this is the 5 rules of note taking. You record, reduce, recite, reflect, review. Okay, now remember back at university during a lecture, we write all the meaningful information so we can understand it. Now, whilst we are doing that, we're actually wasting time. We're looking down rather than at a lecture. We're not engaged um, emotionally, I guess, with what is being said, and we're just putting things down logically, trying to understand this. Then we take it home and we kind of try to review it. We take the first bit out to an extent. We don't record it writing down this way. We just put it on a mind map. We doodle the information. We use mind map format, because what happens then, you reduce the time you're having fun, reducing the time getting that information onto a piece of paper. You're reducing that time, and you're putting the information on a piece of paper in the way that you feel comfortable with. Just the main points. Use color. So for example, reduce. So after the lecture, you write a summary of the ideas and facts using those as clues. Okay, so I guess the first and the second, record and reduce, you kind of reduce it as you are kind of growing the mind map, reducing them to keywords, key images. And then normally how we would do is, we say, for example, we're at university, and or university, college, school, we're writing the information down. We go home, we then try to like revise, get the keywords out, etc., and try to remember that. Whilst you're there, imagine whilst you're there at the school, at the university, at the college, or wherever you are, you're just putting the information down on a mind map. Okay, so it's kind of, you're taking less time writing the stuff down. You're just drawing the stuff. As you're drawing the stuff, you're kind of like implanting the stuff in your head. Okay, and you are thinking, you're recording, reducing information, you're reciting stuff in your head, you're reflecting the stuff in your head, and then you're reviewing it. Now just imagine, for example, the first year of a degree, say on history or politics or geography or anything, and what you do is you put the information on a mind map, just the points of information. And what's happening is, every time you study an element or a branch of that information, you just add more stuff onto your mind map, and it keeps growing, and you put it on your wall. Uh, so as you get more and more information about your subject, you keep putting it on your mind map, and it keeps growing. The more colorful and beautiful and individualistic you make that mind map, the more you will actually remember. Just imagine, rather than going through a huge textbook of information, what you've done, you've reduced that textbook to a picture in your mind, and you look at that picture, you imagine that stuff, and as you close your eyes, for example, in front of an exam, or someone, when they ask you a question about your your degree or your course, all the information is still right in front of you in that mind map format. Okay, so mind maps are visual, and they show associations between keywords, and are much easier to recall than linear notes. Okay, now let me just see, let's see if we've got someone messaging. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a bit. So let me just go on to the next bit. And So in organizing a mind map, it also reflects the way your own brain organizes those thoughts and ideas. This is why every mind map should be an individual mind map from you rather than you copying someone else's mind map. But if you see another mind map and you want to do something similar, you can do that, but you add your own images in there, imagery, etc. Okay. Now, our brains remember what stands out. For example, today is 9/11. Okay. Now, a lot of us remember where we were on 9/11. Okay. Others might remember, for example, when John F. Kennedy, because those are kind of like emotional images that kind of remain with us. Okay. So think of something personal that has happened to you or a loved one that brings back that time exactly and that place exactly. So everything kind of floods back that is kind of linked with that. So mind maps are like that. Mind maps allow you to make key points that stand out easily. Okay, you associate those images with what you want to remember. Now, I'm just going to give you a couple of images here, and I'm going to basically ask you something. There's 9 images here. I'm going to ask you to see if you can remember these. Okay, it's a football, a pencil, a swan, handcuffs, um, a yacht, a seahorse, an elephant, a boomerang, timing, I forgot what it was called actually. It's a sand timer and a balloon. Now, what I'm going to ask you is see if you can remember that. Now, how many images? I've gone back. Let's see how many images you remember. Okay, I'm going to give you a few moments, and in fact, what I'll do, let me see if I can actually open the voice section, so allow you guys to speak. Let's see if I can do that. Okay. Okay, so we've got that chat. Okay, chat. So there are basically 9 images. Okay, 9 images. Yeah. Let's see how many of you guys remember that. Nine images, and let's carry on. Okay, let's carry on, and let's see. Now, out of those 9 images, how many of you guys remembered what the images were? Okay, football, pencil, swan, handcuffs, yacht, seahorse, elephant, boomerang, a sand timer, and a balloon. Now, how long would it take you to remember those? Did you remember these? How many? Maybe about half, maybe 3 or 4. Let me show you. Let me show you how easy it is to remember. Okay, a football, it's a 0. A pencil is number 1. 2 is a swan. Handcuffs are shaped like the number 3. That, number 4, is like a yacht. A seahorse, okay, is like a 5. Yeah. An elephant's trunk looks like number 6. Boomerang backwards looks like 7. The sand timer looks like 8. And the balloon is 9. Now let's go. Okay, so 0 was football. 1 was a pencil. 2 was a swan. 3 was handcuffs. 4 was a yacht. 5 was a seahorse. 6 was an elephant. 7 was a boomerang. 8 was a sand timer. And 9 was a balloon. Okay, so you stuck the images with numbers, and it's much easier to recall, much easier to remember. Okay, that was a fun exercise. Now, if you want to do a mind map, you get an A4 paper or A3 size paper, that is clear, and you gather a selection of colored pens ranging from fine nib to medium or highlighters. You select a topic, a problem, or a subject to be mind mapped, and you go for it. Now, this is one of the areas. It shows basically pen, paper, and you put it for thought. For example, this is a mind map about. I think this is one of the images that we used previously to get people to understand how you kind of generate thoughts, okay, through nature, and what are you armed with? For example, your thoughts. You contemplate stuff, use your memory, nature. Where are you? Are you quiet? Or you as an individual, for example, how do you generate the ideas? Where do you get these references from? What's your talent? Are you making use of your talents? Then you look at something like exploring, okay, how you explore your own visions, your dreams. You invent stuff, you wish, your wishes, for example, just put them on a mind map, and you keep like growing it. It helps you generate more creative ideas, much more creativity. Again, how to mind map. So we collect information. Say, for example, the internet now is very, very, I guess, saturated to an extent with information. But when you have a topic that you want to really get involved in, really want to study, say a topic like whatever, say politics, I guess, yeah. If you want to study politics, or you want to study religion, or you want to study history, aspects aspects of a battle, for example, you can put them on a mind map. You can start putting information on that on a mind map and keep growing it. But from this saturated information online, you need to find key areas which kind of meets your objective to what you are studying. So what you want to remember, and you just start putting those on a mind map and you keep growing it. For example, now if you look at a business plan, how we generate business plans, or how we kind of grow our understanding of what a business plan is. So you look at this, for example, a side project, okay, social media. What do we have social media? So say, for example, you want to set up a business, okay, so you want to set up a business and you want to generate ideas or potential customers for that business. Now, business plan could also mean, for example, say if you are a politician, okay, and you want to generate people to see basically what kind of leadership skills you have, okay. Then, for example, okay, let's just get on with this. Let me show you, okay. So if you're a politician or a business person, social media, do you have social media understanding? So do you have Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, yeah, Twitter? And then from there you can actually look at other things as well. So what is your project? So if you're a leader, what's your main selling points? Why do you want to, or you're standing for Parliament or the Senate? What is your main points? What is different that you have that other people don't have? What makes you stand aside, makes you the key person, why people should come to you? Okay, so do you have a blog, for example? Do you have a calendar of activity? Do you have other videos online on YouTube, for example, that you're selling yourself with? Who is your opposition? Um, who will you be facing in your kind of political kind of activity? Then you look at social media. How are your Facebook, your Twitter, your other accounts? How are they being handled? Are you sure you've got some good stuff getting out there? Are you getting stuff out there regularly? Then again, what are you prioritizing, okay, in your campaign? um, you, what areas are you tackling? What kind of messages are you sending out? Then you look at your website. Do you have a WordPress site? Do you have other kind of sites out there? Is there information out there, not just on your website, but on social media, not just your social media, other people's social media, that you need to tackle? Do you have to tackle that? How are you kind of putting yourself across. Then again, you look at your videos. Now, I've got a YouTube channel. I think it's currently about 40,000 on there, and it's growing. Yeah. Now, I would look at the videos, what kind of, for example, what people like. Okay, and I'll just put all this on the mind map. How many people are watching this video, this video, this video, and which videos I can prioritize. So next time I upload another video, which video is likely to get more hits. Yeah, so this can all be put on a mind map, and you're kind of developing it and growing it. Now, how to mind map? So the key thing about mind mapping is you make the branches closest to the center thicker, attached to the image. Okay, place the basic ideas, chapter heading equivalents on the branches. As the branches grow, the thinner lines start sporting more data and keep growing and branching out. Okay, so remember this, for example. So there's the main point. These are the branches. Okay, the blue branch, the dark blue branch, the light blue branch, green branch, pink branch, orange branch. As they go out, the lines become thinner and you can put more information on there. Okay, so use images and color, be as creative as possible, and keep growing the mind map. This is a mind map on time management. For example, this is slightly different. This was done by one of the people online, and it just gives you information on why time management is important and what it can communicate to people. Okay, it's about clarity. It shows your effectiveness. You know what kind of work-life balance you've got, choices to make, etc. So again, using individual colors and your own kind of special code to show people topics, themes, or dates, and to make them, everything you do mind map is, it needs to come from within you and from outside of you. And putting out the mind map, you're making it your own. That's the most important thing. Okay, this is a mind map about goals. One of the similar mind map we use, some of the lads in football, for example, want to be better. If you're coaching a football team, a cricket team, etc., coaching groups of people, mind map laws. Yeah, so you start in the center with an image of the topic. You use at least three different colors. Okay, you keep drawing images, symbols, codes, dimensions throughout your mind. You select keywords and print those words, and as in print format, in the center using uppercase or lowercase letters. This again shows you a bit more details of as you're growing this mind map. So you look at this, for example, you use words, of course, you use lines, short lines, small lines, thin lines, thick lines. Of course, you're using the paper, you're structuring it out according to what you want to achieve. Okay, use lots of colors, use lots of images. Don't worry, I will give you this this I was going to say mind map. I was going to give you these notes to take away. And again, mind map laws: keep each word image separate and sitting on its own line in the middle or on the branch. Like this, for example, you've got words here, you've got key, you've got select, you got print, clarity, like that. Yeah. So connecting lines should all remain linking, starting from the central image. Remember how a brain cell looks, it kind of branches out. This is how you want to do this. So you make the lines the same length as the word and image, use colors, your own code throughout the mind map. Develop your own personal style of mind mapping. Use emphasis and show associations in your mind map. Keep the mind map clear by using gradient hierarchy. What that means is kind of like keep it in order to what you want rather than what something outside is trying to push you into. Because remember, the linear way of note taking, this is not that. This is about mind mapping. This is your own note taking, your own way. This is one of the mind maps that I did previously. Now, I have a hobby of studying the different strategy books. One of the strategy books that I learned, and I also teach this, is Sun Tzu's Art of War. Now, this is the first chapter of the Art of War. They've got 13 chapters. I've done most of the chapters as mind maps now, but this is the first chapter. And the first chapter is about leadership, it's about planning, it's about assessment. The image right there in the middle is the image of a wolf, because to me, what a wolf means, it's basically you've got a lone wolf, a single wolf, but wolf is about nobility, it's about leadership. So that kind of how it kind of branches out. Okay, so that's just an example of a mind map. This will show you how a mind map works. So for example, I say to you an animal, and you say, okay, you link two words to it. An animal breathes and an animal moves. Now, next bit, what animal are we talking about? Okay, let's say a dog. Now, what does a dog do? It barks, it has four legs, it has a tail. Remember, animal and dog. Look how much information just on that. And there would be other words going through your head, how to link words to these. So animal, dog. Now look at the next bit. Animal, dog. We're talking about sheepdog. What kind of a sheepdog? A collie. What does a sheepdog do? It works with sheep. A dog has four legs. A dog has a tail. It's a sheepdog. Sheepdog is a collie. Dog. Color is usually brown and white, black and white. And let's go on to the next one. Okay, color could be like Lassie. Do you remember Lassie? So what color was Lassie? Brown and white. Okay, it's a film character. Now then you can talk about a film. I'm going to stop this specifically just this example here, but I'm going to ask you now, film character, you're Lassie. Is there any other film characters that you can think about who are animals or just dogs? What about Benji? What about Cujo? What about these different kind of dog in films and dogs in films? 101 Dalmatians, etc. Let's go back to the idea of an animal. Right at the beginning, it breathes and it moves. Okay, what animal could we be talking about? We're talking about something else. A cat. We could be talking about a dinosaur. We could be even talking about a unicorn, an animal, fictional animal. Okay, but it kind of keeps growing. So the more you kind of start putting information down on a mind map, the more you start creating ideas and imagery in your head, the more you are learning, the more you are being creative. Now, uses of mind maps. Mind maps approach the same structure as memory itself. Remember, mind maps look similar to brain cells. They are like brain cells. You can actually imprint a whole mind map on one of your brain cells. Tony Buzan was mentioning something in one of his lectures that a human being has 100 billion, not million, 100 billion brain cells, and that we use a minute portion of our brain during our entire lives. So we have this computer in us, with us, and it's waiting to be used, and it's really up to all of us to kind of learn as much as we can about the brain and try to use slightly more than we are right now. There's a very large amount of information that can be associated with a mind map. You can be creative, you generate new ideas, associations, and you keep doing that. Remember, it's not work, it's fun. If you remember, for example, your a time of your childhood when you were young, you still remember certain images, certain ideas, certain things that happen, and they're there, crystal clear to you. uh, if you had times that were really enjoyable, you really love those times, there's a lot of information there. So what happens is the more you kind of generate ideas, think about something, the more these connections with one mind map, another kind of like increase, and your brain starts functioning much quicker and much better. Okay, this is one of the reasons I also teach meditation, and meditation kind of helps to relax and helps you focus and helps you open up to what is all all around you, all around us. There's a lot of information that we can take in a way that would be beneficial to us. Okay, now use of mind maps. Whenever information is being taken in, mind maps help organize it and form it into a form that is easily assimilated by the brain, and it is easily remembered. Mind maps can be used for a lot of things, but you can use it, for example, to remember books. So say if you want to read a book beforehand, you just make sure you get the main points of who are the characters in the book, or the main areas where this book is coming from, where it's going, and you can generate that onto a mind map format, even in your brain. You don't even have to draw a mind map. You can draw it in your brain. You can use it in lectures and meetings and interviews, and you can phone conversation, and you can generate ideas. Okay, through the more you study mind mapping. Now, how to mind map? Again, you need paper. What do you use? Images, colors, words. You use lines, thicker lines, thinner lines, organic lines, different size lines. You connect different lines as well. You can have different styles. You can have fun, your beauty, personal. You can emphasize certain things in a mind map. You can structure it in a way that kind of benefits you and what you are studying, rather than what's being kind of forced on you. Okay. Creative potential of a mind map is useful in brainstorming sessions. So do you remember, for example, let me just show you this one. Yeah. Now, the mind map that I did here was about creative thinking. So we had chapter 1 of the Art of War, and it showed leadership, assessment, and planning. So I started generating ideas based on the first chapter of the Art of War, and other ideas started coming through, and I just started putting them in there, and it was fun. It's fun, and I carried on with some of the other chapters. So again, brainstorming sessions, you present your thoughts and perceptions in a kind of a different manner by using color and pictures. So, for example, we think in kind of 2D format, I guess. Yeah. So on paper, with a mind map, it's 3D thinking, or even 4D thinking. What is 4D thinking? Four-dimensional thinking. It could be this. This is a mind map, for example, one of the mind maps I did with one of my class on something completely different, on hybrid warfare. So there was some people were talking about hybrid warfare against one country or another, and I wanted to understand what hybrid warfare was, and how it kind of how it kind of grew, and how it kind of works. So with this kind of hybrid warfare, we were talking about combination of conventional and non-conventional warfare. That's what hybrid warfare is about, non-conventional warfare. And what I ended up doing was making this kind of jotting this kind of mind map down. So this is just my first mind map on that. And what we did was we looked at a hybrid warfare. Okay, hybrid warfare. Traditional warfare is about fighting an enemy physically and through militarily. Okay, now every country has a military. We look at hybrid warfare, attacking a country or attacking a people in a different kind of way. So militarily, we just put that to the side. We look at a political angle. How do we attack a country politically? Okay. Now with the internet, what about information? How do we attack a country? Through information. How do we cause chaos? Through some kind of social activity against a country. Okay. Infrastructure, economy, etc. All this is about how to carry a war out in a different way. Now, why did I do this? Is to show people that within their own minds, within their own ideas, they can generate ideas that are dangerous. Was very, very good. Very good ideas, very bad ideas, but they can generate different views, different perceptions in their mind about a given thing. Like, for example, warfare. Again, that's to do with the art of war. We don't want to go through too much into that, but I'll send this through to you as well. So use of the mind maps, again, it's about recalling information also. So whenever information is being retrieved from your memory, mind maps allow those ideas to be quickly noted as they occur in organized manner. There's no need to form sentences and write them out in full. Okay, you just get those pictures in your head. You're kind of mentally remembering stuff. So again, you look at this. This is about leadership, positive influences. This is a mind map about leadership. So individuals, how they relate and what they relate leadership with, interpretation of leadership, common beliefs of leadership, influencing teams, needs, etc. So uses of mind maps, again, very important. Creativity. Whenever you want to encourage creativity, mind maps liberate your mind from linear thinking how other people think, or how other people should think, or how other people think that you should think, and allows you to think of ideas and ways to live your life much more creatively and in a much kind of better and wiser way. Problem solving. If you're confronted by a problem, professional or personal, mind maps help you see issues clearly and how they relate to each other. Do you remember we did something with those 9 images? Now, when I told you 0, 1, 0, 2, 9, I bet every single image you still remember, and you still remember the number. Okay, the balloon, 9. 8 was the sand timer. 7 was the boomerang. 6 was the elephant. 5 was a seahorse. 4 was the yacht. 3 was the handcuffs. 2 was the swan. 1 was the pencil. And 0 was the football. You see how easy your mind remembers. Okay, so mind maps help you think creatively. Your own creativity, creative thinking helps you remember a lot more. Okay, so mind maps can be used for planning. It can be used for presentations. And I'm ending this here with an image of Tony Buzan, 1942 to 2019, who died last year. And he was the originator of the mind maps. So any questions now? Paul? Let me just stop the share on this and we take it from there.
Sorry.
Hi. Walaikum Assalam. Okay, how was the presentation so far?
It's very enjoyable.
Thank you. And
You're very good at this, aren't you?
I love mind mapping, and the thing is, it's do you remember we did the one about the again, it was a creative thinking one, how to overthrow a government, about the coup. We just generated ideas, and suddenly
that took a bit of explaining to do when a few people asked what you were on about.
No, exactly. And the thing is, I had to.
They loved it afterwards,
on the
though, once they
one.
realised it's.
No, exactly. And you know, the weirdest thing is, because we were generating ideas, we were like connecting and generating ideas. Let me just see if we can open up the chat box as well. So do you want to unlock people from, like, what was it? Unmute people, unlock people, unmute people.
Can't they unmute themselves?
Oh, hold on.
I can ask to unmute.
Oh, wow, there's a Chinese lady somewhere as well, I think. Wonderful. MashaAllah, fantastic. Anyway, so the idea with the with the with the with the with the coup, it was just an idea on how to generate ideas from normal people, just normal individuals, to get them to think from the point of view of senior military leaders or senior politicians. was people who would likely carry out a coup. We were not encouraging a coup, but the thing is, by getting normal people, normal run-of-the-mill people, getting them to sit around a table and study certain ideas, you'll be surprised how many of their ideas were kind of like very similar to some of the not some of the key people who have carried out military coups or who've done some interesting stuff. But the final write-up, I had to delete 2 sections out of that because people generally should not know about that. And those ideas were generated not by myself. Those ideas were generated by normal people. And this is why mind mapping can actually be, to an extent, dangerous if need be. But this is why one has to practice meditation, relaxation. You know, you have to kind of focus yourself about being a good person, a good human being, because like everything, I guess, things can be used in a negative way. So any questions, Paul, or anyone? I think that's we've got a question coming through online. The question is, how long does it take to learn mind mapping? Okay, so yeah, let's see. So that's Jake. Okay, Jake, it takes roughly, mind mapping can be learned in a very quick way. It usually takes about 30 minutes to an hour just to get the basics of mind mapping up and running in your head, and then if you really want to get deeply involved in mind mapping and kind of like be more creative and much better, you're looking at about 4 or 5 lessons, roughly about 4 or 5 hours, about an hour a lesson. Let me just respond to, yes, I do that. Let me just respond. Okay, any other questions? Paul, anyone sending you questions on Facebook, or you can forward them onto the inbox, or you can just mention it.
Well, someone did mention about colours. They're wondering what colours use, because you're always using lots of different colours, and they're saying, is there certain colours that you must use or certain colours you mustn't use when you're making mind maps?
All colors you can use, but the key thing is, once you use the central image, the colors you just around the image, like green, orange, red, and kind of like branch it out that way. But if you've got like, say for example, I don't know, just mention me a book, any book, Paul. Paul, name me a book.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Okay, Lord of the Rings. Now, if you've got Lord of the Rings, yeah, the first image that comes into my mind is the not Sauron. Is it the Tower of Sauron with the eye in the middle? Do you remember that? And
Sauron's
yeah,
eye.
so that's orange. That's orange, and that's a sign of a fire. Yeah. So you've got that there, and then you've got Lord of the Rings. How many Lord of the Rings are there? I think there's about 3 or 4. Now, I haven't really gone through all of them because they were too long for me. Okay. Now, but I still remember that. The other things I remember of Lord of the Rings is the ring. Okay. Now, what you could do, you could use the image of the ring with the Tower of Siren in the middle. Yeah. And you've got now the different different kind of like the Shire, the something about the castles, etc. I have to like just have a quick read up on Lord of the Rings so I can actually develop that mind map. But rather than going through a 4-hour, 3-hour film or a 10-hour book, I guess, yeah.
Those films are good, though.
They are
They're really
beautiful.
good.
I mean, I have seen them, but what I would do, I would actually look at maybe even a Wikipedia page on the certain film and get the main points and just plot the story out there, so I understand it before I kind of like go into it, or why did I want to go into it. But what would happen is I would already know a lot of the story by just looking at the Wikipedia page.
Or what's the point watching the film if you already know the all the spoilers?
No,
Oh, you're one of those guys. It's like
no, one of the things,
as long as you don't spoil it for everybody else, that's the main thing.
No. One of the things with kind of if it's a book, books are usually slightly different than the film storylines. The other thing is the reason you go onto Wikipedia or something similar about these big books or ideas is you need to know what you're expecting yourself. Now, say for example, a lot of us would sit in front of the TV and the information would just like come to us. We're not really expecting anything. We're looking at advertising, this or that, etc., etc. That limits our creative abilities to reason with what's going on. So even if we love the movie or love the book, we don't know what we're taking in. But if we know what to expect beforehand, we can anticipate what's coming in and how we're going to deal with that, whether we're going to accept it with ourselves or not. It's like, for example, I say to you now, and look how easy this is. Okay, Paul, just imagine, hold on, someone's come up messaging. I'll respond to this in a bit. Yeah, so just imagine now, I say to you, Paul, just imagine you're in the kitchen, you've got a big, juicy lemon. Okay?
Lemon.
Yeah, a lemon. And you're cutting the lemon in half. See, the very first thing you've done is you kind of like squinched. Okay, you figure, yeah, and I bet.
I don't really associate lemons with juicy. I mean, even though, in winter, sometimes I do squeeze half a lemon in a glass and add, some honey to it. But
when I said lemon, you kind of like squinched slightly and you kind of just imagined even maybe there was a slight taste of lemon.
I thought you were going to say mango. No, mango would be big and juicy.
Mango, it would be. But the reason it's lemon, because
lemons are like little, they're not even big.
Yeah. So with that, it's kind of like it made you kind of squinch. It kind of made you think. Okay, it kind of adjusted you in a certain way, made you think in a different kind of way. If I said mango was something nice and sweet, that's normal. Yeah, you normally think that. You wouldn't eat a lemon. But the thing is, my saying that, and there you go. Now, this is what Janet is saying. Yeah, she actually felt taste of a lemon in her mouth. Okay, no, seriously. And this is the thing. This is how advertising also works. So if they kind of like hook you in an emotional way or a different kind of way.
That's why I watch Netflix.
That's why you watch Netflix.
Amazon Prime, No adverts. And plenty of Ertigle, which is great.
No, Ertigle's good. The other one is good as well. What was that called again? The one with the, oh God, what is that called? There's Ertigle and there's the Western Ertigle thing.
The Western Ertigle, Vikings.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, so now the thing is, what about any of the questions, Paul? Any of the questions you've got? And I think Salim Saab is messaging me. But any questions you've got before I answer, Salim Saab?
No, you carry on. You carry on. You've probably got something interesting to ask.
Okay, so basically, mind maps. Let me just see what Salim Saab has said. Is there a difference between mind mapping and technology? So let's see. Okay, so basically what Salim Saab is saying is like differences between mind maps and maps about concepts. Yeah, by the way, talking about concepts, Conceptual Blockbusting, that's another great book. I'll probably be going through that in about a week or so. This is the book that I've gone through this week, and I do a course on this, by the way, and I am putting something down on something together on this as well. Now, differences between mind maps and maps about concepts or conceptual mind maps, okay, also called ontologies. Yeah. Now, a mind map has a kind of a radial structure. Okay, so it kind of like develops like from the middle outwards. The concept mind map is, so the mind map is basically like a brain cell and kind of branches out. The concept mind map, okay, or a kind of like a ontological mind map, I guess, is a mind map that is like a tree trunk. So you got a tree trunk and it kind of like branches out into a tree structure with many branches and clusters. I use both of them. I actually sometimes feel much more comfortable using the tree structure mind map rather than the brain kind of cell mind map, because I kind of like feel much more, I guess, grounded in certain ideas or certain concepts. So that's how I do that. The comment from Janet is, let's see. No, I can't answer that. Let me just send that. So, Paul, on your line, are you getting any messages on any questions before we kind of go on to the next phase? Can mind maps be used for technical? Yes, mind maps can be used for technical, scientific reasoning. They can also be used for, I guess, to generate scientific ideas. So, for example, in physics, in chemistry, in biology, you can use mind maps to not just generate ideas, to plot out ideas onto a mind map format. The other good thing about mind mapping is say, for example, you're in the first or second year or third year of your biology degree, human biology degree, or geology, or any kind of science degree. If you put your ideas, say for example, you've got a 4-year degree course. I don't believe that it takes 4 years to study a science degree. Okay, I believe it can take up to a couple of months at the most to study that. The thing is, we kind of stretch things out when there's no need to stretch things out. So imagine this. Imagine that you've got a 4-year degree and you've got all these main points you have to go through in your degree. What's stopping you from getting your 4-year degree books together, just putting them on the table and making a mind map of the main points of your degree course? You stick that mind map on the wall and you just start adding information on there. Within a month, within the 2 months, maybe, possibly at the most three and a half months, you would have got all the information on the degree course that you are doing at your university, at your college, on a mind map generated by you. You've taught yourself that degree. Okay, and you're just going through the system to collect a kind of certificate or a diploma or a degree at the end. It's seriously very, very easy and extremely powerful, to mind map stuff. And the other thing is, if you've done that yourself, now just imagine you're a student doctor, for example. And I think it's 5 years or 6 years for a student doctor. I think the first few years, it's usually a lot of academic work. Again, you put the stuff onto a mind map, you generate those ideas, and other ideas you might have on that mind map. You use the same books that your universities or colleges have given you. You put that onto a mind map. So would it be, just think about it, you've got everything on the mind map. Do you have to go through all of these tons and tons of books? You can also, once you get the main points, by the way, the other good thing about the internet is once you get the main points from those books and your lecturers or what to expect in the university course, you just Google the main points and you just build it. You build your own mind map. And 4 years, no, it's 4 years for a degree. You can do it in 4 months. And by the way, when I say 4 months, I don't mean like 6, 7, 8 hours of study every day, unless you want to. Yeah, you could do it about 1.5 hours, 2 hours maximum. Just build the mind map. 4-year degree, 4 months. 6-year degree, 6 months. Just a couple of hours maximum a day. And by the way, you're enjoying stuff. You're doing these mind maps. You're generating ideas. This is the way of the future. This is
Oh dear,
real
Mohammed,
learning.
we've got a comment coming in here from Jason. And Jason, you can probably see. Jason said, "Oh my gosh, does that mean I can leave it all to the last minute and do it in the last week?" I mean, we would not recommend that, would we? But it's just, you mean it's a useful tool.
No, I shouldn't say shut up, Jason. Okay, no. I think this is one of your you guys that you teach. Assalamu alaikum, Jason. Jason, you don't leave things to the last minute. Although I've done this myself, back at university, I've left stuff at the last moment, and usually it succeeded. But that doesn't mean it would always succeed. It's called what is it called? It's basically
It's called a risky strategy.
It's a risky strategy. It's a risky strategy, but it's a strategy. That is the most important thing. But you see, studying, when you're studying something, your idea is about studying. It's work. Okay. The reason you want to leave it to the end, because it's not fun for you. What you're studying, what your degree or your courses, you're not really like enjoying it. Okay. To make it more enjoyable, just stop mind mapping it. Mind map it out, draw, doodle, have fun, have a little music playing in the background, watch a cartoon. Honestly, the other thing is, one of the most effective ways of studying is if you study for about 15-20 minutes and you watch a 5-minute cartoon. Yeah, seriously, just to kind of bring yourself down a bit. You get more information inside you. Now, just imagine you're just making this beautiful mind map. Okay, and you're building this mind map, you're actually enjoying it. Your time will go past without you even knowing. I've done a mind map, 4 or 5 hours it took me. My wife had to like say, she's going to basically take my pens away and my crayon, not my crayons, my felt tip pens away. Yeah, my crayons. Yeah, if I don't come enough food. It's very easy to kind of get into a
I know
certain
what to
frame
get
of
you for
mind.
Christmas now, some Crayola.
Crayola crayons. So that's the thing. But Jason, no, I would not recommend you to, like leave everything to the last moment. If you carry on, as I think Paul forwarded you that section on meditation. So the more you meditate daily, by the way, you can meditate about 2-3 times a day, morning, evening, and I guess in the afternoon. It helps focus you to not leave things to the last moment. I think you'll be okay, but do not leave things to the last moment. Paul?
Yeah.
Any others before we go?
There was someone else mentioned something similar, but I think you've already covered it. Those last few answers, So, yeah, I don't think so.
Well, I'm glad everyone's kind of enjoyed this, and we have some other people online as well. Do you want to accept their videos? Let's open their videos. Let's see if we can open their videos, and they can let's see if they can answer stuff if they want to. Okay. Oh, there is time for just one more question if need be, so we can end this. And I'll send out the both the recording and also the presentation notes as well to everyone if need be. So one more question, Paul, from your students, if they're still there.
Oh, there is something. Can you use photographs in mind maps?
You can use photographs in mind maps, but it's best to use your own creative pens and pencils and crayons and whatever to make those images, because you actively being involved in the mind map is better than you getting other information on there. So there's also programs for mind mapping online, very, very good programs for mind mapping online. But the problem with those is because you're not like using your own hands. Okay, you're not using your own colors. You're not actually using a piece of paper. It feels kind of different. It feels artificial. It feels like two-dimensional. So even if you're using lots of colors online, it feels two-dimensional. If you're using a piece of paper and you're writing stuff down, you're drawing, it's three-dimensional. It's you using this. So it's better. It's better not to use pictures or photos of things. I mean, you can copy stuff, but if you can copy with your own kind of handwriting, your own painting, your own stuff, it's much easier. Okay, is that all right?
Yeah, they're happy with that. Then.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks for.
I think people are just a bit lazy these days. You know, they want to try drawing themselves. You know, start pinning things on a piece of card or something.
No, the thing is, it's basically. Let's see. Someone messaged me on. Okay. Here we go. What time is your lecture? It's about to finish. Okay.
There's always one, isn't there?
No, that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. What we'll do is, if Paul, if you can, hopefully, what we'll do is we'll end this. And it was actually very, you know, I like studying and also teaching mind mapping. But I'm glad people have enjoyed this. I know you have, Paul. Again, it's not really just creative doodling. It's much more than that. And it's
I remember
fun.
when you were first telling me about mind maps a few years ago. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, spider diagrams, and you were like, no.
Now, what is that? Like, what spider diagram? My foot. That's like, like I was going to say chav diagrams, but I'm not going to do that. But you know, the thing is, Paul, with mind maps, you can get a person. I mean, I know sometimes I might joke with people. People who keep thinking that they're kind of dumb. Yeah, no one is dumb. No one in the world. Yeah, even people who with special needs. Everyone has a different way of looking at things. But the more color, the more visual imagery you use in mind mapping, the more creative and beautiful you make it, the more people are attracted to it. So you could end up teaching stuff. For example, what do you find difficult as a subject? What did you find difficult as a subject at university or before university? Chemistry.
Yeah.
Okay. So chemistry. But do you know anything about chemistry right now?
Not a great deal. I haven't focused on it. I know a little, but I'm not to that sort of level. No.
That's fine. That's fine. But okay, fine. So you got the word chemistry in the middle. Yeah. What word goes with chemistry? What image in your head goes with chemistry? Forget word, imagery.
Molecules?
Sorry?
Molecules, you know, the molecules.
Molecules. What else? What else?
Atoms.
Atoms. Go on, carry on. What else?
Chemicals.
Chemical. Now we're getting someplace. Okay, chemicals, right? Now, what else?
It's not really my area.
Sorry?
It's not really my area, so I don't really have a poison, maybe. I don't know, but it's not all poison, obviously. Water's a chemical.
Water's a chemical. Okay. Now,
biology is just advanced chemistry in a way.
Okay. Shall I show off slightly? Yeah? Okay. Okay. Now, remember, I haven't studied chemistry at A level. GCSE I've done. Now, chemistry, another image or a word that goes with chemistry is chemist or pharmacy, but that's a separate issue. Yeah. So you got chemist, chemistry. All right. You've got matter. Then you've got atoms, elements, compounds, molecules, substances, mixtures, moles and amounts of substances. You've got something else called, so that's like just one little branch. You've got phase, bonding, energy, reactions, ions and salts, acidity, basic acidities, I think it used to be called, redox, equilibrium. Then you've got chemical laws. Then you look at the history, for example, maybe about here somewhere on the mind map, and you got definition of what used to be chemistry, what used to be called chemistry, and then you look at the discipline of chemistry. Then you've got the sub-disciplines of chemistry. Then you've got chemistry used in industry. You got different professional societies of chemistry. Okay, you go back to industry, for example. Yeah. So, God.
Oh, why don't you draw me a colourful mind map, Mohammed?
No, I don't want to do that. I don't. It's already there. This is the thing. This is the problem. You see, the more mind maps you do, the more kind of like you start like. There you go. Now it's like coming back to me. Yeah. Guess what? The Royal Society of Chemistry. Right. What is that? Paul? Royal Society, RSC, Royal Society of Chemistry. Yeah. What is it? It's basically a professional association of chemists based in London. Okay. God. Let me just, I gotta look. This is the problem now. You see, because of that, I have to look for it now. Hold on. Let me just have it quickly. I promise I'll finish this, but I got to look at it. If I don't, it's going to stay with me. Royal Society of Chemistry. I think it is that. Let's see. Oh my God, there you go. See, Paul, now see what you've done. Now, it's the Faraday Society, the Royal Institute of Chemistry, and the Chemical Society that was formed in 1980 by the Chemical Society, Royal Institute of Chemistry, and Faraday Society that came together to be created the RSC, which is the Royal Society of Chemistry. Now, you know, the saddest and the weirdest thing is, what is RSC? This is what was, when you were talking about chemistry, RSC was going into in my mind. Yeah. RSC is also called the Royal Shakespeare Company, which is completely different. The Royal Society for Chemistry.
I think I prefer that one.
Royal Shakespeare. Well, okay, fine. Okay, if you prefer that, okay. Now you tell me what the Royal Shakespeare Society does.
They oh gosh, I don't want to get into this now.
No, do you see how do you see the power
It's
of
never ending. That's the thing. We'll be here all night. It's
no, exactly. It just goes zoom. Okay. Now, Royal Shakespeare Society exists in Stratford upon Avon and also in London. Yeah. You know, like shows like Matilda and stuff like that. They're currently being shown in the Royal Shakespeare Society and whatnot. They also do an educational program, believe it or not. They've got a Shakespeare learning zone. They got teacher resources and stuff, higher level, lower level education. They do school broadcasts. They've been doing Zoom broadcasts for schools and people at home so much. And this, now we're talking about Royal Shakespeare Company, nothing to do with chemistry. Yeah, which is the Royal Society for Chemistry. Yeah, but do you see how potentially your mind can actually there's so much information you can actually hold in your mind.
of course. Yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, thanks a lot. Nice to be hosted again. And I think the next one we will do is the compound effect, how small changes in your life can build you up to be a stronger human being.
Mashallah.
Or we can do Sun Tzu, Art of War, why we are in war and struggle of in our lives, and how we can like build the art of war in our daily lives to handle warlike situations, like making sure we don't overeat and overdrink and be balanced human beings. Thank you, Paul.
Okay.
Take care. Assalamu alaikum. Bye.
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 Bye.